Hey everybody, welcome back to yet another Prefect Live. I'm here with Chris White and special guest Emily Temkin. Emily, welcome to Prefect Live. First time.
First time, probably the last time. Don't really like the live stream, but here we are.
Yeah, Emily, what's your role at Prefect?
What's my role at Prefect?
Yeah. For the viewers.
Rallying the people. I call myself Culture Queen, Chief Professional Twitter Queen, friend of Rooster, who's right here for me,
right
up
here.
there for over there for Chris. But I do marketing and some branding, and I'm best friends with Chester, if you've met him.
Awesome, the infamous Chester. Yeah. So what have you got for the crew? I saw a teaser tweet.
So today, a lot of us have cold feet about Prefect, about life, about everything, and I'm here to solve problems, whatever they may be. But today it's all about feet. So we're here to give everyone some Prefect socks. So in order to claim your Prefect socks, we want you to slide into our DMs with your address so we can get them sent out. So all you have to do is DM us, and also just be our follower, because we want to be your friends, and that way we can know who you are and see what you're doing. So DM us your address and we'll send you some socks. And we'd love for you to also share pictures of your socks when you get the socks. We're trying to start Prefect Feet Meet on Twitter with our sock pictures. That is non-company endorsed. That's Emily endorsed.
trending hashtag.
Everyone gets looks. But yeah, we want to send out some socks. They're really comfortable. I have a pair on my feet of socks, not these socks, of red socks, because it's almost baseball season. Yeah, and those were my 2 minutes. I think I'm running over my timeline.
That was perfect. Thank you so much, Emily. Well, thanks for coming on. If you guys want free socks, I just put the Twitter link in our chat. So go there.
And Chester and I want to know your addresses so we can arrive with some socks.
Exactly. Cool. All right. Cool. Well, Emily, you're free to hang out.
Gotta run and reply to your tweets.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
See ya. Bye. Cool. Okay. So, and then another person kind of new to Prefect Live definitely hangs out in the chat a lot. And then we've done some fireside chats. The man, the myth, the legend, Chris White.
In the house.
Cool. All right. So what are we doing today? And hey, everyone in the chat, thank you guys for participating. Besides, what's going on today? What's the plan?
So I want to walk through a particular user story that I'm just really excited about. Something that I've mentioned before, it's this idea of incremental adoption with Prefect 2.0. What does that mean? What does that look like? And then I want to give maybe a special treat for anyone who's out there and curious about what Prefect Cloud is going to look like for 2.0.
Ooh, very nice.
What I hope we can get through in the hour is actually signing up for a Cloud 2.0 account.
Let's do it.
Running some stuff against it. So I'm going to start with just my terminal, at least for a little while, and then we'll switch over to some browser stuff.
Cool. So I'll switch us into a different view. Let me get your terminal so people can see it, and then I'll let you know.
I can resize it too if you just tell me what dimensions,
Cool. And while I'm doing that, incremental adoption, this idea, I think once you explain it, it'll be really natural to people, but from those two words doesn't exactly say what it is. So could you give an overview of that?
Yeah. So I want to say a few different things about it. So one thing, right, is the modern data stack is this thing everyone's talking about, and everyone has their own little definition of it. From my perspective, it's just an explosion of new tools that are designed to be very pluggable, right? They're very much you can kind of swap them out in your tech stack, and the idea is you can kind of adopt them and maybe even switch them out if you need to relatively painlessly. You don't have to, reimagine your entire tech stack to use some of these tools. And so with that in mind, if you're relying on an orchestration service, which one way a lot of people think about it is it's glue between all of these other tools, it should be minimally invasive in order to allow you, right, to kind of make these changes that you need to make within your tech stack relatively painlessly. And so, okay, with that thinking in mind, what we really strove to do is push Prefect, design Prefect 2.0 in a way that you can use it in as light of a touch way as possible to get some benefits. And then, the more feature and functionality that you want, the more you start to integrate it into your code base. But we really wanted that scaling property of how much involvement in Prefect is correlated directly with how much Prefect usage you actually want to have. But so what this means, and what I'm going to show you, is in a very genuine sense, you can get some benefits of Prefect with one single line of code.
Amazing.
And then you can take it further. And so you don't even have to use our scheduler, which you should use our scheduler. It's a good scheduler, but you might not want to, or you might just be in a place where you're experimenting a lot and you don't want to make that sort of a change. So we designed the system to allow for that. And so I talked about it a lot, so I want to put it to the test because I haven't actually used cron in quite some time.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so I think what you're going to do is, I won't spoil it. Your terminal is front and center. The sizing's great. So yeah, let's get started.
Okay, so I'm not joking. I knew that I was going to use cron for this, and I kind of made a conscious effort to not do too much studying on it. So we're going to see how easy it is to just set something up with cron.
You're the best. You're the best kind of live streamer, by the way. This is amazing. This is truly live. This is not practice. I love it.
No. Like, I know what I want to do, but this might take 1 minute. This might take 6 minutes. So first, I want to try to test my own knowledge of cron. So I just want to make sure that I know how cron works before I write any Python. So I'm just going to do, I think that's something you can do. No, cron tab. Okay. And I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be every minute. And all I'm going to do is just echo test to a file. We'll put .txt. Okay. So I believe that we should see something here in just a minute. Okay, but in the meantime.
So, by the way, I made a call for cron experts in chat just in case we need to back up. Kevin Ko says, we're done with cron. That's why we're here.
I mean, hey, sometimes you got to get in the trenches to understand your users. And, that's
exactly.
what...
This is the idea of incremental adoption. Let's say someone is familiar with cron, using cron, and they just want to get visibility to cron, right? This is what we're doing.
Actually, I wish I remember the name off the top of my head. Someone was asking about this just yesterday in the community Slack channel, actually. They wanted to use their same scheduler and just start to see how they liked Prefect. And it looks like this might have actually worked. So offer, hey, I know how to use cron. So that's good. I haven't forgotten everything. So now let's write some Python. So this part, I'm not really sure of what like a really interesting kind of Python function would really be. So I'm just going to do something relatively silly, honestly. So let's do so I'm really not going to do much just for starters, and then we'll kind of play around and see how far we want to go. So I'm just going to define a main function. Maybe it takes a number. I like to use type annotations. I'm not going to maybe return anything. And let's just go through and print numbers. So
can we do interesting numbers like primes or something? We don't have to.
I mean, we could do some. Let's start with this. And
we'll start with something simple.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. So this is, for most people out there, I'm guessing this looks pretty familiar. You define a main function. You might have a lot of other functions, up above, and you drop it into this main block so that whenever you run it as a script, it actually runs the function. But if you import it, it doesn't run the function. So that's for anyone out there maybe who doesn't know, that line 6 is a gate, right? So that only when run as a script will that actually execute, and otherwise you can import that main function and do fun stuff with it in other places. So we can test. Oh, you know what? I need to provide a number. So let's just start with 5, just like not make it interesting or you know, actually changing or anything like that. Okay, so it works.
Yep.
That's cool. So now what we might do, and this is where things get fun. Let's just see. I think I might be overwriting this. No, I'm not. Perfect. So right, I'm adding to it. So you can see kind of each time this runs, this is run 3 times now. Now, there's a lot of things that you could do with cron to try to get visibility into this. But right, if I walk away and come back, the last thing I feel like doing is counting the number of tests in this file to see if it actually ran every time. And you can imagine this might be some like actually important script that's running. It's doing some data manipulation. Maybe it's collecting some system logs and, you know, looking for, I don't know, SSHs to your server or something. There's a lot of different things you can imagine here. I used to actually have something like this set up on an EC2 instance where I was running a Slack bot, where I just really enjoyed collecting all of the SSH logs of people attempting to SSH in. So I would take the IP address, the username and password that they were using. I would do a lookup, and then I just stored it in a SQLite database so that I could like be like, oh, look, a bunch of people from France are trying to attack this thinking it's a Raspberry Pi. And it was just fun. So that's like something you might do. So I would just scrape those logs every 5 minutes, and that was fun. So it doesn't have to be data, is basically what I'm trying to say.
That's a great simple example, though. That's really funny.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if we have time, maybe we could even like, I could try to remember how to pull that off. I don't know that if it would work on my Mac though. So, okay, we have this. Now I'm just gonna do one more thing, which is I wanna get the full path to Python here. And I am going to, okay, so I'm gonna do something different now. I'm probably gonna delete that actually, but in the meantime, I'm going to run, I think I actually need the full path. So I need, and then what did I call that file? Orion -test. Okay. So users developer. And then users developer Orion test. And then I want to do the same thing. I want to go developer test python.txt. And so what we expect to happen is for a new file to show up here with the numbers 0 through 4 in it. Just to make sure that I'm not missing something weird about like Python environments or something like that. Another thing that I might actually do is just activate a Conda environment each time, just to make sure I don't have to do weird stuff like figure out the path. For anyone out there who uses Conda, I hate writing Conda activate and Conda deactivate, so I just use on and off. So highly recommend.
That's niche.
Oh yeah, I've been doing that one for years. Highly recommend. Okay.
There it goes. Wow.
All right. So that's cool. You know, we know we're using cron, but we walk away and we just want some evidence that this is working, that it's running on time. Maybe
you're not always at your terminal.
Exactly. You're not always at your terminal. And another, like there's all sorts of things you might actually care about after the fact. Things like how long did this take to run? I'd have to wire up more code to track something like that. There's just all sorts of things like that where if I could capture some amount of metadata here, like it would be interesting to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak the script ever so slightly. And so first off, this is already running. Cron is doing its thing. So I'm guessing that it's going to be, you know, it's going to hot reload. Whenever I edit the script, we'll wait another minute and we should see potentially something different happen. So I'm going to do from prefect import flow. And so to be clear for anyone out there, this is on Prefect 2.0, the most recent beta release. So just if anyone is trying to follow along, make sure to install the beta release, not 1.0. And I'm just going to drop this decorator on this main function.
It can't be it.
Well, let's see. Let's find out. I don't know.
Let's go.
So then we do have to wait a second. I'm gonna do really quickly. I'm gonna clear that just so that it's like starting from scratch. So we'll wait 1 second. There's one. It is possible that the import will fail since I'm not working with an environment in the cron tab.
Right.
So I might have to go activate the environment. We'll see in a second. But either way, it will be a good illustration of something that I want to call out. No, it looks like it worked. Okay. I'm going to do one other thing. Sorry, I should have probably done this first and might have actually done it. I believe that's the command. Let's see. Ooh. I apparently don't have all the requirements installed. That's my bad. Something has changed since I last ran this. So one thing that we've focused on a lot in Prefect 2.0 that I just want to call out is the CLI. So there's some really slick stuff in here if you know where to look. It is a little bit slow right now on my machine just because I have an editable install and things take a little while. But so for example, I'm just going to do work queue list. Doesn't really matter what this is yet. We'll learn soon enough, but like we use Rich, which is a really cool CLI framework for Python. Look how pretty it is.
Looks nice.
Yeah, I love it.
And it says Prefect Orion database reset -y.
Thank you. Gotta have a community engineer everywhere you go. Cool. Thanks, Hannah. We'll see. Hopefully, some stuff happen. Will this? You know what? I know how to. There we go. That should that should do it. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to these text files and see what's happening. Okay, still running. I am wondering though if this got picked up because I would have expected to see a little bit more output. Okay, so anyways, what should we, okay. There's one thing, the only thing that's weirding me out a little bit is that I'm not seeing more output. I would have expected to see more output.
It was longer than 2 minutes there.
Yeah. But okay. Either way, I want this to run one more time, and then I'm going to show you something. So how are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing really well, thank you. One thing I was wondering was what so you basically imported flow and then dropped a flow decorator. What that would look like in Prefect 1.0.
So in Prefect 1.0, so first off, flows can only contain collections of tasks. So the fact that this is a flow that just runs Python is not really something you could do in Prefect 1.0. So what you would have done is you would have imported the task decorator, decorated this function potentially, and then you would have used the with flow context block, like etc.
And created a flow out of the task.
Yeah, exactly. So you would have created a single task flow, and then this would have become main.run. So you'd have to actually, it's not just calling a function, you're actually calling a method on this like flow class,
Got it.
Okay, so let's just do one quick test. I actually think I know.
By the way, feedback on your on-off on your on-off alias. That on-off alias is nice. Preferred to misspelling deactivate like 5 times.
Yeah, right. Like, who knows how to spell that? Come on. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I assume that this is working because we're seeing the prints, and maybe what I was expecting to see are some more logs, but those are probably going to standard error. And I think I'm just piping standard out to this file. So this actually might be totally fine. But okay, back to what I was trying to say the problem is. The problem is I just want very easy to interpret proof that cron is doing what I think it should be doing. So to do that, because I have decorated that function with the flow decorator, Prefect is tracking every call of it. Whether it's by cron, whether it's by a Prefect agent, doesn't matter. Every call, whether it's interactive, in a REPL, notebook, your favorite thing. So I am going to run Prefect Orion start. This is not necessary just to run a flow, to be clear. But what this does is it's going to stand up a few different things by default. It's going to stand up the scheduler, some small lightweight services like that. It is also going to stand up the API. So our orchestration API will be like actually available now at localhost 4200 or whatever it is. And then it is also going to begin hosting the UI. So the UI is it's not a Python UI, to be clear. It was written by actual front-end engineers working in JavaScript and TypeScript, but it is packaged up inside this Python package.
And you don't have to do that before you're on the flow.
Exactly. That's the thing that I just want to emphasize, right? Is you don't have to think about it. You just call it, play around with it, do your thing.
I'm the perfect straight man. So
Wait,
Chris, I'm the perfect straight man. So Chris, explain this to me like I'm 5.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna potentially have to do some screen sharing fun here. Let me just minimize things, and I think it might just be easiest to share my entire screen at this point.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. All right, incoming.
All right, cool. Let me get this stood up in here.
So can you see this well?
Yeah, I can. I want to move us a little bit. There we go. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, look at that UI.
So the thing that's crazy, so, to be clear, you'll have to do a little bit more work here to still do the count, but you can see immediately, this is run 5 times as far as Prefect is concerned. Here are the windows. And so we have 5 flow runs. Comes from the flow print numbers. That's what the name I gave it. Here are our fun little names.
Micro Donkey.
We're gonna inspect Micro Donkey. Now, this isn't particularly interesting because I didn't really put anything in there, right? It's just some Python code that ran. Logs, nothing particularly deep, once again, because I didn't do much with it, right? I just said, so it is using the concurrent task runner by default, which is actually a really cool default. It actually will allow you to run asynchronous code. So get not quite parallelism, but some concurrency. But so the really cool thing is that in a genuine sense, in a very uninvasive sense, I can now use Orion as a cron dashboard.
Yeah, incredible. And there's so many things in here, by the way, that are catching my eye that I want to dive into. I know that we just set it up with a very simple, not even a task, or just a flow that we're orchestrating cron or
Right.
just orchestrating the fact that the cron ran or not, which is awesome. But sorry, I interrupted you. You're gonna keep going.
Oh no, I mean, we can. There's a lot of places we can take this now. So one thing that I want to show you is just how to access the logger, because it would be nice to see those numbers printed here, right? So let's just do that really quickly. And so it's a top level import get run logger. So you can call this function inside of tasks, inside of flows, like just wherever, and we'll basically figure out which logger is most relevant at that moment. So I'll just do logger equals get run logger. And so to be clear, now I'm starting to introduce some prefect code. But right, that is the incremental adoption. I want to see this in the prefect UI, so I have to add some prefect code. That's totally reasonable. And then, I can keep taking this further, but so let's do logger dot, I don't know, info. And let's go back to the main timeline. So another thing while we're kind of hanging out that I want to call out, I don't think a lot of people are totally familiar with what we're doing here. There is, this is referenced in multiple blog posts and things, but so this filters command up in the top right is really cool. So instead of having projects, for example, to group your flows by, you can just create dashboards out of what's interesting to you. Something that I didn't do on my flow is add any tags, but I could have added some informative tags like test or cron or whatever. And then I could create a filter. So here we go. I would probably actually add it to the flow runs if it was me. And I could put cron here. And then I could save this dashboard with the star. And now one of my views is my cron view. And then maybe I have a different view that's, I don't know, my deployments, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Can you do, or in the future, will you be able to add tags from the UI?
So you mean just like after the fact?
After the fact, yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely, it's not something, to be clear, something we have prioritized right now, but it's, in scope, makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. So I believe this is the latest gigantic. So now we're going the opposite direction. Gigantic polecat, not micro donkey. And yeah, we got some output. So
that's incredible. That's awesome.
We can keep pushing this further, of course, but I think you get the idea now. Like this is what I mean when I talk about incremental adoption. And I just think that Orion, just purely as an open source project, there's just so many hobby things that rely on cron that could benefit from this very minimal feature set here. Okay, so now let's okay, we're at the halfway point. So this is a perfect time to transition. So okay, let's say that this cron job is actually a little important to me. And so I would like to look at this exact dashboard from my phone. Now, I think that's a fun technical challenge. I would probably try to figure out the networking involved. How can I create a DNS record to get to my UI and all that fun stuff? But like, it wouldn't be very secure, right? Anyone who could find it could do stuff with it, et cetera. And the API.
And then it's on you. It's on you to manage that from ongoing, right? Like, can I get?
Yeah. And like the API would be available, and I don't know. There's just all sorts of little risks that you'd be taking that I know I wouldn't feel super comfortable with, long term at least. And so that is one reason you might switch over to try cloud. So for those of you who don't know, you can do this right now. This doesn't require any special access or permission. You can go to beta.prefect.io.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
Oh yeah. So this is beta. This is beta software, to be very clear to everyone out there. Like, when I go in and we're about to poke around, like, it's not going to be like this crazy bells and whistles, every possible feature you've ever imagined, but it works. And you can kind of think of this, at least for the time being, as your own hosted Orion API that is, authenticated and tracking a little bit more authorization, authentication type activity, like who does what and things like that. And over the coming weeks, we're going to be, of course, rolling out a lot more stuff into the platform as we transition it out of beta into general availability over the quarter.
I think we'll talk maybe a little bit more about that too tomorrow. Probably we have a fireside chat tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, where we'll cover that in a little bit more detail. But I'm excited to see it.
So if you're just coming to the screen and you want to use username and password, then you click the sign up button. But if you don't want to use username and password, want to use Google or GitHub, then you can just directly click one of these buttons and it'll kind of do the right thing. So I've actually already signed in, and I didn't bother like deleting my account or anything. Oop, what did I just do? No, don't click. That's the one I want.
Nice.
Okay.
I like that loading screen, by the way, that little loading popover.
I know. It's
That's
really
cool.
slick. Yeah, a lot of care went into this UI, and yeah, I'm really excited about it, and then like where it's going to go to. So I guess this is a popular idea because I don't have a workspace. Okay, so let's create a workspace. So once again,
what's a workspace in the context of Cloud 2? Cloud 2.0.
You can think of this as your own Orion instance that you're creating, basically on our end. So, right, you're still going to run your flow on your machine or wherever it is, but like all that API stuff and the business logic running behind it will be running on our end. And in the future, you'll be able to create additional workspaces, which are permissioned entities. So I could invite you maybe to this workspace, but maybe not to my other workspace, etc. Oh, and just another cool thing that I really want to call out. It's not 100%, doesn't change as much as you might think yet, but you can actually change your color scheme.
Very nice.
Which I just think is so cool. And so if you're colorblind and things like that, you can kind of switch up how you see the states. Okay, so let's create a workspace. I'm gonna give it a name. I don't know. Oh yeah, so workspace names have to be like slugified. All right,
I wish I had a slug picture to pop over right now.
Micro slug. Or,
yeah.
So you can, fill in interesting stuff, and you can imagine, right, multiple workspaces here, and then you can kind of click in and do things with them. So go into contest. There's nothing here, right? Because I haven't sent any data this way. So okay, how do we do that? Well, we have to create an API key, and then we have to update our config a little bit. It's not too much. So it looks like I already had a key. I'm just going to delete it. So this is the screen that you would see. Create API key, name, also call it cron test. And in the very, I believe even the next release, you'll be able to start to set expiration dates. I know the team has been working on that. So I'm going to copy this. I'm not worried that it is being displayed right now. This will be deleted by the end of the stream. So,
a few sweating bullets over here.
Right. There's no billing information. You know.
Perfect.
I'm not losing any sleep over that. Okay. So another cool thing that is a part of the CLI are these things called profiles. So profiles let you basically toggle, right, between local development, cloud development. Maybe you have different workspaces in cloud that you want to switch around between, etc. And so, oops, I forgot. I can't do that. It's help. So the Prefect Profile CLI subcommand is kind of where you want to go to start to explore this. So I'm going to create a profile. I'm going to use that profile, and then I'm going to start to set some config in that profile.
That's really cool. So you can just kind of fly around between different, I mean, the word profile, but different like types of activities really easily just by using use.
Yeah, exactly. And so right now, the big things you'd be switching between would probably just be local and cloud. In the future, it'll be your workspace switcher. And then even, somewhere in there, there's just going to be interesting settings too that you could start to switch between. But right now, it's just API keys and workspaces basically that you're toggling.
And a question from chat. So now I don't have to version control and branch my .prefect folder.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That is the exact intent of this. Is there's a file with a source of truth. I'll show you the file actually, so that you can kind of see what it looks like. It looks kind of like the old config.toml file, but it's just with named profiles. And you can see the file got created up here. Here, I'll just cat it for you. So I was doing some testing. So I have a lot of different profiles that I just created this test one that we're going to use. So now I'm going to do Prefect Profile Use Test. So now I've switched my profile. And now this part, now that I'm using this profile and it's my active profile, I can actually use the prefect config subcommand to start to set pieces of config. And so this one, let's see, I might get this wrong. Prefect config set prefect API key equals.
So should I think of that as a one-to-one relationship between like one API key per profile? So essentially one workspace per profile.
Yeah, that's the way that I think about it, and I think that's going to be the common way exactly. Because as you'll see, when you switch workspaces, you're actually switching the URL that you're using as your API.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can do prefect profile inspect, which I believe will show us the active profile information, and we hope to see the key in there. Beautiful. And I'm not sure why that mail message keeps popping up. I'm sure it's related to cron. I'll worry about that later. Just every time I'm running something, it keeps popping up. Okay, so we have the API key, and now we need the URL of this API, right? Which it doesn't have any way of knowing right now. So I'll close this and go back to the workspace. And now this is, what am I missing? There it is. So we'll figure out, where this needs to go whenever you create it. I actually think that this was displayed when I created it and I just like moved too quickly. But you can see here, right? Prefect config set, which is basically the command we just ran for the API key.
Yep.
And this is just setting this long URL. So API-beta, and then we have accounts. And so the thing here that I just want to call out for any Prefect 1.0 users out there is, this is very clearly now a REST API, which is actually really nice because it's imminently clear, even just from the URL schema, different pieces of information about what you're doing, what resources you might be talking to. Whereas with GraphQL, everything's buried in the body of that request, which, user side, like, I'm not sure if it causes all that much complexity, but, server side, it definitely does. And this just makes things a lot easier and more transparent. And REST, I think, just has a lot more tooling around it anyway for people. So this is an open API compatible schema, and you can do some fun stuff with it. Okay, copy that, run it. And now remember, I already have cron running, that script. I don't need to touch that script.
It's been going this whole time.
It's been going that whole time. So I just set the API URL, cron's running. So
if I see all this history in cloud, I'm going to flip.
Okay, so you won't see it all. It's not going to batch upload, know. But let's see if we can see anything happen. It's no more than 1 minute.
The tension is palpable. I can cut it with a knife. I feel like even a butter knife could cut this tension.
Yeah. I'm gonna drink some water.
Yeah, exactly. So, and this is ostensibly it's live. You're saying this will automatically just kind of show up.
Perfect timing.
Let's go. That's awesome.
Right? So then I go to flow runs, flying snake. It's pretty good.
That was so easy.
And look at that. It jumps me straight to my logs, just like I would have liked. Thank you, UI.
That's stupidly easy. That's awesome.
Right? Now I just have this cron dashboard. Like I can just, poke around, use it, check in on things, make sure everything's running. And then if something failed, by the way, which I could make happen, this will be red. I can then do either filter for my failed things or just kind of click in and list them, like however I want to get to it, get to my failure. Presumably the traceback would be in the logs, and I can start to debug and figure out what's going on. Now, there's a few different directions we can go here. So this took a little bit longer than I expected to get here. I always talk too much, but so Chris, I'm curious what you think would be most interesting. Today, we announced Prefect collections.
Yep.
And so we could try to use our first Prefect collection. And then alternatively, I could show everyone how to set up a deployment and an agent to run that deployment. So basically migrate this workflow out of cron and into the Prefect scheduler.
Right.
What do you think would be most interesting?
I kind of like collections. That means we're going to be working with like a real service. What are you going to do? AWS, Slack, something like that? What are you thinking?
I'm going to do Slack.
Yeah. Anna says, let's send some Slack alerts. So that sounds good. Yeah.
Cool. So for anyone who doesn't know, by the way, just if you're interested in deployments, go check out our Orion docs. They're amazing. Our amazing tech writer, Terry, keeps these up to date and polished. And so you can see deployments here. Here's, this is a tutorial for deployments. And then also our discourse that Anna runs also has a lot of great information. So just anyone who's interested in that side of the world, you should have everything you need between the docs and discourse. Okay, so we are going to use Prefect Collection. So we just had a blog post go out about this. You should definitely go check it out. Alex and Andrew have done an amazing job of setting these up. And many of them are actually live and open right now.
That's awesome.
And so this repo is a public repo. So this isn't something that only I can see. If you go to this URL, you will see it too. So let's see. I genuinely have not used this collection yet. So let's see what we can do about it. So
Sure.
These are published to PyPy. So let's do an install. One thing that this is just going to be amazing about is we can really keep a lot of this functionality isolated, and that includes the different environments. So Prefect 1.0, right? There's a lot of like complexity involved if you wanted to use GCP, AWS, Kubernetes,
Right.
like all the different packages that came to play, but this allows us to separate them out and just manage them a lot more effectively.
Yeah. And one thing too, I think before we get started, I want to mention on collections is that we absolutely would love for our users to contribute. And so we think we have a template. I posted the blog post into chat. We have a template for contributing collections.
Yeah. Basically fork the repo, it's cookie cutter setup, and it makes it really easy. And so we, for certain types of collections, just really depends on the nature of the collection. There's a good opportunity for distributed ownership here, right? Mm-hmm. Like users can like own their piece of basically the task library, which is kind of how to think about this, but it's more interesting than that. Mm-hmm. So okay, I think I already have a token, but I need to look in a place that might show things. So I am going to stop sharing my screen for just 1 second.
No worries, no worries. We'll put us back on larger video while you do that. Any questions from the chat, by the way? Happy to take them. Again, we got Chris White here, CTO of Prefect. He's so far we've deployed Prefect 2.0. We had a local UI running, and then we signed up for beta Cloud 2.0. There's links in chat. Feel free to go there, check that out. And now we're going to dive into collections. We're getting a Slack token, I think, and we don't want to show that to everybody.
Yeah, this is going to be good though. Okay, this is gonna be fun. Okay, sorry about the Hall of Mirrors situation.
No worries.
Oh yeah, and I can also kill this because you know what? I'm using the Cloud API. I don't need
That's right. I'm gonna bring you back up now, and I actually have it cropped so you can't see the Hall of Mirrors. So it's all good. You're all good. You're ready now.
I just pasted the token. It's okay.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna do. So first off, I'm gonna import OS just because that's how I'm gonna get my token. Mm-hmm. So token is os.getinv Marvin public token.
And so in question 2 in the chat on collections, will tasks from 1.0 be converted to collections, or are we starting from scratch?
Yes, so we are going to go through them, and so I don't want to make a guarantee that we are going to personally port over every single one. A lot of those have been community contributed, and I think the community would be better migrating some of them. Mm-hmm. But the very critical ones, and the ones we know are widely used, we're definitely doing. So we already have Slack, I believe, AWS, GCP. What are the other ones? I can't remember if we've done DBT yet. We have 5 or 6, I think, that are already out there, and then we're going to keep chipping away at those. Yeah.
Awesome.
So let's see. I'm just following this excellent README, which I think is going to get me set up quite quickly. So let's just so one thing that I want to call out is like, I'm just using this in the simplest possible way, right? There's like more interesting things that I could probably do.
Of course.
And we haven't yet exposed a hook for like on failure alerting. So you do have to write that custom yourself today, but like, of course, we're gonna wire that up once we have more notification options and things. So I'm just gonna send this at the end, just a token. What is the main? What is the main? Actually, I'm gonna do prefect contributors.
Yeah, there's in community or in this one in our
in community.
One. Oh, okay. It's prefect community is like the main one.
Prefect contributors is one though, right?
Let me check. I think so.
Right here. Wait, what's the main one? Prefect community, you said?
Yeah, prefect community. I think that'd be good. Okay. Then we can.
All right.
We can call to action people here.
Let's see. Hopefully, I got the. Hopefully, I got. Oh my God! Why can't I speak? The token right.
Yeah.
But you know what? If I didn't, I got a dashboard to debug it from, so it's okay.
I can't wait for that. I hopefully we can get this message to show up in prefect community. That would be the best way to advertise.
Oh, it's going to show up.
Prefect
it just
Live.
Might not show up on this particular run.
Right.
Any good weekend plans, Chris?
Honestly, I'm flying to Maine on Saturday. Yeah, we've got we have this house that we're renovating up there, so I think I'll finally be able to get it like totally ready. What about you?
Actually, family in town.
Nice.
So meet your in-laws, my parents.
Nice. Oh,
doing some wedding stuff.
Oh, bring them together, huh?
Oh yeah. So it's going to be an interesting weekend.
Nice. Yeah, we did that actually this past summer because we're getting married in October. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
September for us. Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations. That's awesome. A lot of talk in the chat, by the way. Oh, look at that failure. We're a lot of talk in the chat about plans to migrate some tasks. Sorry.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Everyone, coordinate with that. Check in with not to put you on the spot, Alex, but check in with Alex. Anna can also help out there. So I just used a filter just to filter for failed things, but so we got a failed flow run, which is not a big deal because you get to see what that looks like now, which is pretty cool. So we go here and look at that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Little exception. Request to the Slack API failed. Not off. Okay. Right. So I did something wrong.
And let me know if you want me to hide your screen or anything. I can do that pretty easily.
Yeah, will you just hide my screen really quickly?
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Tell me when I'm good.
You're good. You're good to go. You're good to go.
Marvin. Public token.
And by the way, if anyone's looking for a nice Airbnb in Maine over the summer, you know where to look. You know who to contact.
Okay, so I'm trying a different token. So let's, oh, I should have saved that. I should have saved my filter.
And we can go over, by the way. I mean, I don't have a hard stop at 3.
Okay, cool.
You might. You might.
I usually do, but maybe not today. We'll see. So look, failed runs filter. This is fun.
You want me to share your screen again?
Oh, it failed to save. I'll look into that later. Oh yeah, sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yep. We're back.
I just went back and created my filter. I just tried to save it, but something happened. So I'll figure that out later. Not a big deal. Like I said, beta software.
Yeah. Kevin Coast too says Slack conked out on me in a live demo once too. Not surprised.
It could be. I mean, there's a chance that this token doesn't work, but that would be a little surprising to me.
Fierce ringtail.
When did this one run? 11:52. Okay, so this is recent then. So there is something going on. Not off. Did I just write that correctly? I'm guessing I'm using a bad token, honestly.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I'm probably using a bad token. Trying to think if I could get this done quickly or not. Could you hide my screen one more time?
Yeah, you're all set. Here's some good feedback too from chat. It's a good demo for what Prefect helps with, seeing errors easily without having to look in your code, which might be on another VM or somewhere. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, I mean, just a lot of simple wins.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna try one.
Chat, have you guys all gotten free socks? Don't forget Twitter, DM us, free socks sent to you. Just DM us your address. I'm gonna put that in chat too.
Okay, I have one more thing that I'm gonna do really quickly, and then yeah, I think we can. Yeah, don't. See, one more minute before we switch back.
Sure, take your time.
To my screen.
I've just been switching back and forth every 2 seconds. I'm kidding. That's just a joke.
Oh,
great.
Play some crazy circus music too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're lucky you're not Kevin. When Kevin came on, and he's actually due to be on in a couple of weeks. Kevin, I know you're on. I just played memes the whole time, like trombones and stuff like that, air horns. Bow, bow, bow. But Kevin had a great time, did you, Kevin? There he is.
Okay, I think you can switch back.
All right, and we're back.
Cool. So other things here, by the way. So work queues. This is how you can create and manage your work queues. Like I said, check out the docs for that. But it's pretty slick. This also, like, as you know, right now offers the ability to concurrency limit on your agents from this work queue setting screen, which is really cool. And you can pause them and resume them. Just like a lot of functionality that isn't even present in the free tier of cloud today, and all that stuff is also in the open source Orion.
That's what I was gonna say, is that concurrency limits used to be Prefect Cloud only. Now they're under the Apache 2.0 license, Prefect 2.0.
Yeah, both types too. So task tag concurrency limiting and flow level concurrency limiting.
That's awesome.
Okay, so let's see. Look at that. Look at that. Can you tell me if something got posted, please?
I was just gonna say it did. I meant to be looking at that. Yeah, just now. Flow run from Twitch stream completed. Awesome. Oh yeah, I love the cool llama emoji. Perfect. Another one just ran.
Yeah, so
just gonna keep going.
By the way, okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen really quickly, since I think that is a great place to.
Yeah.
A great victory to end on.
It's just you and I right now.
I am going to turn it off, but so this is the time when you might be like, okay, maybe I should use the Prefect scheduler, because if you're using the Prefect scheduler, you could pause this and stop it from spamming. But now the only way that I can stop this is by going back to my cron tab and actually removing it, right? So
that's hilarious. Kevin says you can stop it now.
Okay, it should be. It officially stopped.
It only posted twice. That's perfect that it did it twice, though. That was an excellent example.
Yeah,
that's good. Awesome. Cool.
So, yeah.
This has been really great. This is really cool.
Yeah,
anything else we should know, I guess, before we end the stream?
I don't think so. Just that beta.prefect.io is out there. It's public. Go check it out. Kick the tires. Give us feedback. We'll be, like I said, expanding what you can do in it over the coming weeks on a pretty continuous basis at this point.
Awesome. Cool. I do want to say too, we had 20 viewers on average today. So I think definitely a new high for us. We'll be back every week, Prefect Live on Wednesday. Thank you, Chris, for coming on. We had a great time. This is really cool.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
All right, see you guys.